Hi everyone, my name is Marie-Louise Yule and welcome to this class on reinventing healthcare. It is so good that you can join me. I thought I'd just show my face before we jump into the presentation, as that's always a little bit more personal, so you know who the person is that's speaking to you. So without any further ado, let's jump in, because I'll be telling part of my story as we go along and jump into the presentation. Here we go. Reinventing healthcare. Like I say, my name is Marie-Louise Yule, and I live in Sydney, Australia, and have a husband and two beautiful daughters. And I've been using essential oils for around about a year now, and it's amazing. I discovered then on my journey of trying to get free from autoimmune disease, which I've really suffered from most of my life since childhood. And I became desperate. I became completely desperate, and I started looking at some really, really expensive physicians. And a friend of mine said, "Listen, Marie-Louise, have you heard about the essential oils and their natural health properties?" And I said, "No. Never heard of it." And she started telling me just a little bit about some benefits of frankincense oil, sent me a video, and I started getting really, really excited, because for the longest time I've known that there must be another way. I was resigned at that point in time to the fact, or I was in a medical system that told me that there's nothing that can be done about your condition. We can't explain why this is happening in your body. And quite frankly, the only thing you can do about it is to manage it with pharmaceutical medication. And then, of course, using that pharmaceutical medication over many years, I had really, really awful side effects. And I know somebody who would at this point in time always ask, "What's your favorite side effect?" But seriously, I had pretty nasty side effects, from severe mood swings, from additional issues that started happening in my body, like psoriasis and all sorts of very uncomfortable places, to really more serious things. I lost my peripheral vision, very cloudy mind. I'm struggling to concentrate and focus, becoming really forgetful. It was frightening, really, really, really frightening. And I was desperate for another solution. So I decided I was going to give it a go. I was pretty much willing to give anything a go. And by that stage, I was already on a journey to completely change over my diet and my exercise regime to become as healthy as I possibly could be. But I was still struggling, and I still needed some extra help. So, I'll show you some of the oils that I tried a little bit further down the line. But that's basically how I got into it. And my purpose really with this class, this webinar, is to help you understand that there is another way. And it's quite exciting. It's natural. It helps our bodies to heal themselves, which they've been pretty much designed to do. So let's jump in and go to the next slide. Right. So here are some scary figures, really. So on the left-hand side, we've got the US figures saying that $6.5 trillion is annually spent on global healthcare every year. Oh, that's from the World Health Organization. But if you would take that 6.5 trillion, for example, in the United States, you could spend it on building a transportation system second to none, and that could go around the world 2,509 times. And it's quite expensive to build a road. In my background, I did transport engineering as one of my classes at university. So yes, it is an awful lot of money that can be put to a lot of good. 85% of the entire US population for that money could go to private colleges for free every year. So just putting that into perspective, in Australia, we spend 161.6 billion in 2014-15, according to the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare in their report that they recently released. So that was 4.4 billion higher than the year before. It grows annually. We spend more and more and more on healthcare. People seem to be getting sicker. However, the interesting thing in Australia is that was the third consecutive year where growth was just a little bit slower. And I think there are many people like me who have realized that there is another way. There is another way, and it's worth looking into it. It's worth trying. I know many people here in Australia see naturopaths, and that's really exciting. It's good that people are trying to find out what they can do to totally get rid of their symptoms. Right. So the reality today in our mainstream medical system is that it's based on pharmaceutical medication, which doctors prescribe and patients use. And you know, the sad thing about that is that it is symptomatic management, which is what I was basically a prisoner of. And with all the side effects of the symptomatic management, got sicker and sicker. So if you look at these figures, you know, the 6.5 trillion, and looking at the fact that people are getting sicker and sicker every year, seriously, we should be getting healthier, right? Spending that kind of money on healthcare, you would have thought that society, with the technology and advances in scientific research that we have access to, that we will be doing better rather than worse. But in fact, no, things are looking pretty bad. If you look at the fact that, you know, the National Institute on Drug Abuse in the US says that prescription drug abuse is the fastest growing part of America's drug problem. And it's quite scary, actually, if you look at the overdose deaths from painkillers and how that has tripled, you know. The interesting thing is as well, there's some nasty side effects out there. I was prescribed a drug when I was still living in the UK for the arthritis that I was suffering, and I went home. I was a young mum at the time. I was breastfeeding my second little baby, and I thought, well, the doctor didn't say much about this medication, but he mentioned something about killing fast-growing cells, which is why it's good for inflammation. So I went and looked at the side effects online on the National Health Service online service, and the first two side effects were death and abortion. And it rocked me, and I couldn't believe that a doctor would prescribe something to a young mum like that without even saying, listen, there's some serious side effects, you know, you need to look into this, think about it before you take this drug. It was just, no, this is the only thing you can do, go ahead and do it. So yes, the scary thing in the US is that preschool age children are the fastest growing age group being prescribed antidepressants. And yes, that is also related to other things going on in society and the way that families live, the pressures that we're under. But still, looking at how easily they can be addictive, and also the side effects that they have, especially over the long run in people's bodies, that's quite a scary reality. Now, you know, here's a video of one of the, oh, that doesn't seem to work. Let's see if we get this video to work. Oh, that link doesn't seem to work. Anyway, we can get back to that. We can get back to that later on if we need to. But, you know, I've spoken a little bit now here about modern medicine versus natural solutions. But the basic, you know, truth behind that is that pharmaceutical medications also extract components that they use from plants. They cannot use the molecules exactly as they are because they cannot patent anything that's natural. So they develop their own products, but in only picking certain parts and aspects out of the chemical composition and developing their own new composition, you will see that is probably the main reason for contributing to the fact that bugs become resistant to it very, very quickly. It's not complex enough. Whereas you find the natural solutions, the molecular structure is really, really complex. It is live almost and adaptable, and it's basically impossible for viruses and bacteria to become resistant to this. And that's what that previous video was about. I can see if I can share the link of the video if you let me know, and you know, make contact with me. I can get that link to the video to you if you're interested in seeing. But it is a doctor that's on the doTERRA medical board talking about the resistance of strains of bacteria to pharmaceutical drugs, and how much more effective the natural solutions are in that sort of scenario. Right, so natural solutions are safe. They come from plants and they're in their natural format, so they've not been really tampered with in any great way to change their chemical structure and composition, even though they do get extracted, but they're gentle methods like steam distillation or cold extraction. They've been used by ancient cultures. This is not a new thing. Some people might think, oh, essential oils is the latest thing, your latest fad that people are going on about in natural health. No, they've been used in ancient times, and you will know, any of you who know the story about the baby Jesus' birth, he was given frankincense and myrrh alongside with gold. And they reckon that those would have been really practical gifts in those times as well, that the frankincense would have been used to boost the baby's immune system when it was born, and the myrrh could quite well have been used as an antiseptic to treat Mary with after birth, postpartum, to make sure that she's safe as well and looked after. So natural medicine and essential oils in particular have been around since ancient times. We know as well that in World War II, even in France, that they were used to treat soldiers with burn wounds as well, as it's very effective in healing the skin, but we'll get to lavender in a bit. They're completely natural, and doTERRA's products are such high quality. They have a very specific testing protocol because they weren't satisfied that there was enough regulation in the marketplace and enough testing, and that there are too many products out there that have synthetic fillers or even just additives to them to make them last longer. And they wanted to prove that they wanted to, first of all, bring out the most pure and potent and effective essential oils in the world. They wanted to produce those, but also prove to the world that they take that seriously and that they get it tested, through third-party testing, through all sorts of methods, including gas chromatography and mass spectrometry. They have big labs and third-party, people as well that verify the tests, and they work with some universities as well, and doctors and scientists, the whole team of them, to work on their products. So in terms of the potency as well, as we've just moved on from that previous page, they are really, really potent and effective. So did you know, for example, that every 15 ml bottle of lemon oil takes about 75 lemons to fill? So yes, next time you make yourself a homemade lemon and ginger tea to drink when you're not feeling well, just bear in mind that a drop or two of lemon oil already has plenty of potency in there, and it's called extracted from the rind, which is the healthy part of the lemon, really. So these are really, really effective as well. Science is showing, in medical research, that because of the really fine and small molecular structure of the essential oils, they can penetrate cell membranes in the human body. Very few things can actually pass through human cell membranes. So, and they need to have really small molecular structure. So you think about alcohol and things like that. That can go, past the blood-brain barrier, for example. If you look at the cell membranes, essential oils can enter in there and very effectively deal with threats from the inside, but also around on the outer membrane of the cell. Right, we have another video here, and let's see if we can get this one to work. Yes, here we go.
Bacteria have the ability to change their genetic makeup over time for their own self-preservation. Bacteria have their own defensive mechanism. They produce something called a peptidoglycan layer. It's the equivalent of an M&M shell that's protecting the chocolate on the inside. Now, one of the other elements the bacteria are very, very good at making, and that is something called a biofilm. Biofilm is its own very goopy, slimy mess that it covers itself in. So what's now starting to happen is we are finding that once very useful antibacterial medications are no longer effective at all. What that means for us, we have to use stronger antibacterial medications. We have to use more potent antibacterial medications. That comes at a cost to our own bodies. Melaleuca has the ability to come in and start to modify that sludge and remove it so that the oregano can get to the bacteria. And in oregano, there's a product called carvacrol. Carvacrol will bind to that peptidoglycan, and it punctures a little hole in there. Once that hole opens, you start to get a passing of ions back and forth. What that does to the bacteria is it allows it to lyse. It means burst open. And we've now accomplished something very dramatic, and that is by doing nothing more than using 2 simple little plant-based essential oils, you have created a very effective antibacterial solution.
So what's really great about this video is that, it just proves to you that doTERRA's products, their essential oils and their other products are based on real science, which is really interesting and great to look into. And they actually have a medical advisory board, which, this doctor that just sort of presented this video is part of, and a whole team of scientists. So really trustworthy products because it's based on medical science and it has been research verified and developed by a team of doctors and scientists. So if we look at the cost of these oils, really, they are really very inexpensive. The problem is people will look at the price of a bottle of oil and go, whoo, that seems quite pricey. Some of them are not actually. It's more really your frankincense bottles that can be a little bit more. But actually, if you think a 15 milliliter bottle, of which, I don't have one with me now, but takes it has 250 drops. So if you use it for, say, for example, peppermint for a headache here in Australia, that will cost you 10 to 20 cents per application, depending on whether you use 1 or 2 drops. You don't need much. Rub it on your temples, maybe over your forehead and back of your neck. If you compare that to, say, Nurofen Zavans that you buy from Chemist Warehouse, that will be 50 to 60 cents per application, so, for 1 or 2 tablets. And in most instances, that'd be 2 tablets that you take. So it's 50 to 60 cents that you pay for that. So really, actually, essential oils are quite inexpensive to use. And the one that's mentioned here, Digestin, we use all the time for stomach upsets and digestive issues. And again, sort of shows, I think this would be sort of Canadian or the US price here, that it's about 12, it's less than 20 cents really per application, per drop. It takes 1 or 2 drops, maybe 3, and it works really fast and effectively. Now, there are different ways that we can apply and use these oils. First of all, we can use them aromatically. So you can diffuse them, or you can literally drop in your palm, rub it between your palms and breathe it in like that. It can cleanse the air when you diffuse it. It can really help and ease breathing. But more than that, if you see the picture on the right-hand side here, the molecules get taken up through the nose and the olfactory system to the olfactory bulb, and by the neocortex as well. It will then go through the brain and pituitary gland, and it will really affect and touch all the systems within the body. So it is pretty amazing. Science is beginning to show us just how incredible our bodies are, that if it comes into contact with something that's really good for it somewhere, it will disperse it and take it to where it is needed. And that's very exciting. Right, so another way of applying it, second way of applying or using these oils is topically. And this is also one of our favorite ways. I've included a reflex chart here because that's a very useful way of topically applying the oils to really reach the targeted area that you need in the body. And for my children, it's a very popular way of using the oils because I don't always have time to dilute it too much. And obviously the skin on the the feet are a bit tougher. My kids are a little bit older. I think if they were younger, I would definitely dilute the oils for, for safety purposes and to make sure that it doesn't, irritate their sensitive skin. But it is a great way. And again, topically, these oils, they pass systemic within the body from cell to cell to cell. So the body transports them to where they need it. And, if you use it through the reflex points as well, massage that particular area with an oil, it will get delivered to that area. And it's a very, very effective way of treating. We use our flu blend that I make on our feet like that, to target particular areas. And I literally 2 weeks ago treated my little girl with a very nasty chest infection very effectively that way. And obviously, as you touch the reflex point, it stimulates that area. She would start coughing and I would obviously apply the flu blend there because that's where the infection was, and we really got her sorted out within a couple of days with some rest from a really nasty chest infection. It even brought her temperature down, so I didn't even have to reach for the Panadol or the Nurofen, which I was very happy about. So thirdly, you can take these oils internally, drop them in a glass of water, or add them to a veggie capsule. Now, there are 1 or 2 oils as well that you just won't be able to take internally. And with doTERRA, they tend to put them in a bottle with a safety cap, child's safety cap. So you will know just by looking at the bottle, but also very detailed instructions are provided per product so that you know how to safely use them as well. Some oils are quite hot to the touch or really don't taste very nice. So with doTERRA, you can also buy empty veggie caps, vegetable capsules, and you can fill them with the oils that you need and take them like a capsule internally, and they will really beneficial to take them that way to deal with issues in the digestive system, for example, or in your urogenital tract. Right, now quickly we'll look at the sort of main oils that we use with doTERRA here. Lavender, amazing. We love to go to bed with this one, drop it on our bed linen as well, but also love using it for skin issues. I burnt myself really badly in the kitchen the other day on the stove, and I thought, okay, now I'm going to try out what everybody says about lavender. I applied it. It very, very quickly provided relief, and that did not make a scar, and it went away, literally completely went away within a day or so. I've also had a friend report that her boy had a spider bite on his foot, which was quite angry. They applied lavender oil, and again, within about 2 days, that had settled right down and he was fine again, no problem. So really, really great oil. It's also very good for the immune system, so we add that one to our flu blend. Moving on to Melaleuca, which is actually Australians. This is tea tree oil. I think most of the world knows it as tea tree. It's really only the Americans that calls it by its, I think, biological name, Melaleuca. So fantastic for the skin as well. I use this, I mentioned earlier on that I struggle with psoriasis. So along with lavender and frankincense, I use tea tree as well to help target some of the psoriasis that I had as a side effect of recent medications that I had to take before I had an operation. So yes, it's great for your hair as well, and it's really great for sort of fungal issues, dealing with fungal issues. I know of people who've had fungal toe infections and they rub it on, and tea tree would really just take care of that. Another thing is I add it with peppermint oil in spray bottle to just clear out and clean up lunch satchels that might become a bit smelly. And spiders, I use that same peppermint and tea tree sort of spray. Spiders hate peppermint, and cockroaches hate tea tree and peppermint as well. So I've actually seen that work quite effectively in my house. I saw a few cockroaches at the beginning of the season, and for the first time tried it, and I've not seen one since. So I'm hoping that, I'm trusting that has worked really well. Right, peppermint, one of our family favorites. We use this one in so many different ways, but we use this when we go to the gym, as it's really good for respiratory function. I add it to my water bottle when I do exercise, and even my children, when they do gymnastics or swimming, will add that to their water bottles, as it helps to increase the respiratory function. You breathe better, then your performance in your sport is better as well. So for us, that's our little sort of secret when we go and do sport against others. So peppermint's also great. I use it for headaches, like I've mentioned before. Would rub it on my temples, but into the hairline, because it's very, very strong. Only 1 drop needed, and don't get too close to your eyes. And if you do get oil anywhere near your eyes or any other orifice of your body, it might really be uncomfortable and sting. Don't dilute it with water. Use a carrier oil to dilute it with and get it away from that part of the body. But peppermint, absolutely fantastic oil. It's great for the digestive tract, so we like to put it in some of our smoothies and things as well. And other things, baking desserts and things like that. Lemon oil, it's a great one for cleaning. I like to put lemon and lime. I make my own homemade cleaning products. I just got totally fed up with paying a fortune with natural cleaning products, and I hate the supermarket chemicals in my house. For a while, I've not been wanting them there, and I moved on to expensive cleaners from the health store. But now I actually make my own very cost effectively. They smell fantastic. They work really well. So this one is great for wiping up countertops and stuff like that. But also lemon is really good for detoxing the human body. It dissolves petrochemicals in the body that can be flushed out then. And if you put a drop on a styrofoam cup, you will see it actually literally eating away at that. So lemon is a fantastic oil. I might just point your attention now to these little symbols at the bottom here. It shows that you can, use it aromatically, topically, or internally. And the N will usually indicate you can use it neat on the skin. It won't irritate the skin too much. With people with sensitive skin like children and the elderly, just be careful and dilute it anyway. But, if it's an oil that's likely to irritate the skin, that N would be an S, of course. That would stand for sensitive, take care with sensitive skin. Okay, or D actually for dilute, which we see here with oregano. So oregano is an oil that we don't use a lot of, but when we need it, we are so glad that we have it, and we will never be without oregano. I use this in my flu blend. You heard, the medical physician earlier on speaking about how oregano works really well at killing viruses and bacteria in cells. So protecting the body against threats, seasonal threats, very, very good for boosting the immune system. So I put this in my flu blend that I make up and rub on my children's feet when we get sick, and oregano is a very, very hot oil. So that's why you won't have the N symbol there for applying it neat. This one has to be diluted before you apply it to the skin, because it's a very hot oil. Cinnamon is the same as well. It will feel very hot on the skin. Right. So that's it. It's also really good for the GI tract. If you have taken oregano over a period of time to take care of your GI tract, always a good idea to just boost yourself with some probiotics as well after that. Oops, sorry, I've just gone too far now. Frankincense, the king of oils, absolutely fantastic. There's so much, you can almost say, what can I not do with frankincense? It's got a very, very complex molecular structure, and therefore it can really address a whole range of issues within the body. It says here that you can use it with on minor cuts and sores. I actually treated a recent I had major surgery just 3 months ago, and I used actually frankincense and lavender to help heal my scar, and I had lots of oohs from the nurses and the doctors when they saw just how absolutely wonderfully well that my scar has healed after the surgery, which is quite exciting. Right, so frankincense was the oil that brought me over to essential oils from conventional medicine, and I used it actually internally to help manage inflammation in my body. I had a lot of inflammation before, and like I said, I've had a whole strategy of dealing with getting rid of that inflammation, but really I took frankincense as well, because it's really good at dealing with inflammation and boosting the immune system as well. It can also calm or help the brain focus. So it's a great one. I diffuse that when my kids do homework or when we're working on a project. But really, when in doubt, use frankincense. It's such a good all-rounder and probably my favorite oil. Right. So on guard is the next one. This is another, one in our house that we will not go without and pretty much use daily to boost our immune systems. It smells really lovely as well. So you can diffuse it in the room to eliminate airborne pathogens and really be antibacterial, clear the air in the house. You can dilute it in a spray bottle, spray it because it's antibacterial. You can use it as a cleaner in your home as well. Very good. I put it in my homemade antibacterial hand wash. You can gargle it. It's really good for oral health as well. It's a mouth rinse. And you can take it internally for immune support, but doTERRA actually provides them in little beadlets, and they also do a range of capsules to take internally, just to give you that extra boost when you are going through the winter season and there are all sorts of threats, environmental threats around you. Because it's so effective and antibacterial as a cleaner, and it contains clove, which is a really, really high antioxidant, probably second highest that's known in the world today. doTERRA has also made a range of household cleaners based on the On Guard blend. Right, looking at Breathe Quickly, which is the respiratory blend and called Easy Air here in Australia. This is a great one. I love to see people's faces when they breathe this oil in for the first time. There's a look of surprise and delight at the same time as it just opens up the airwaves. It's you'll recognize the smell. It smells like Vicks Vapor Rub, really, but this is the real thing. These are the original and potent, oils that would be, otherwise, tampered with a bit and added to put them in the Vicks blend, but really, really, really good. So there's eucalyptus in there, peppermint, cardamom, amazing oils like that. So you can apply that to the chest. I would definitely, this one says S as well. It's for sensitive skin. You have to dilute this one. My little one has I've sent her to school with a little bottle and it was diluted, but probably not heavily enough. But she put it on way too often. She put it on all day long. She came home with a little rash. But since I've been diluting it more and telling her to only apply it every 2 to 3 hours, she's been a lot better and we've not had a rush again. Fantastic oil. Love having Breathe in the house. Digestin. This one is a lifesaver. You have to carry this one with you as well wherever you go. This is fantastic for easing digestive discomfort, nausea, motion sickness. So you can take it internally in a glass of water or in a veggie capsule. But even when you rub it topically on your stomach, people tell me every day, oh, I've not really used digestion. People said it was really good. And the other night my stomach was really upset and, I was too lazy to run a glass of water. So I just rubbed it on my stomach and wow. That wow always comes because you can feel it penetrate in through to your digestive system, that cooling of the peppermint and the warmness of the ginger in there as well. And there's also fennel and other oils like that. Really fantastic for the digestive system. Genuinely cools it down. And I literally over the last 2 days on Facebook saw a picture of someone who had lactose intolerance and took a before and after picture. Before using Digestin, the stomach was quite swollen and bloated, really badly bloated. She looked pregnant, actually. She took some of the Digestin and the after picture shows a flat stomach. It was actually quite remarkable to see. So people really love this oil. It's very, very effective and so safe to use. The ingredients are, ingredients that you would put in your food: ginger, peppermint, cardamom, fennel, cardamom was the one in Breathe. But so yes, natural, healthy ingredients and really, really effective. Okay, moving on to Deep Blue. This has been a lifesaver for me as well. As I told you, I recently had surgery. My years and years of autoimmune disease resulted in, presented itself as arthritis in my body. And I recently had to have a hip replacement operation. Before my operation, osteoarthritic pain became really unbearable. And this was one of the things I used for relief. And at the time, really, I actually found this more helpful than oral pain medication that I was prescribed by doctors at the time, because it really draws right down into the joint and the muscle, brings cooling relief from peppermint, wintergreen, oils like that. And they also do it in a rub version with doTERRA, which is very economical. It goes a long way. A pea-sized amount really is great. Athletes love to use this during and after training to soothe sore muscles. So it really is a fantastic one. It's a great massage oil as well. Great for aching joints and muscles. And this is a testimony of someone who actually had huge issues with inflammation and used the Deep Blue blend.
Hi, I'm Alan, and I have had a lot of pain and inflammation over the years. I've worked in the construction of film and television sets for the past 25 years on some great projects. House MD, True Lies, Independence Day, Wild Wild West, Godzilla, the list goes on, and I am extremely important. The work has taken its toll on my body. I've had some injuries. While working on John Carter of Mars, I really struggled. I struggled so much that I really felt like I was a slave to pain and inflammation. The average workday in the film construction industry is 12 hours. 12 hours of handling heavy nail guns or swinging a hammer left my hands in extreme pain. And it was difficult sometimes to even sleep because the pain was so bad. I felt like I was an old man. I would take one step with my right foot and raise my left foot to that step. When working in the shop around my coworkers, found them often waiting for me because I was slow. I was much slower than them. I went to a specialist, and after his examination, he said there's really no cartilage damage, there's no tissue damage, it's just inflammation. His recommendation to me, take 2 months off and rest it up. It'll probably get better. I tried to cut a deal with him so he could pay my mortgage for those 2 months, and he wasn't agreeable to that, so I really didn't have the option. So I began trying different products that I had heard about, glucosamine, chondroitin. I would buy large bottles of those and consume them liberally to try and overcome the pain. And I realized some benefits, but certainly did not take care of the problem for me. I remember one day, and ethically in my heart, realizing that I needed to either change my vocation or just retire and quit, which really honestly was not an option. I didn't know what I could do. I was at a loss as to where I would go from there. And fortunately, a close friend of mine introduced me to a blend of essential oils that was for pain and inflammation. And one night, I took this little vial with this beautiful light blue oil in it and put a few drops on the back of my hands and rubbed them in. And I went to bed. And when I woke in the morning, my hands were completely free of pain. And I was astonished. I was really, really pleasantly surprised. And my next thought was, how can I bathe in this stuff? And unfortunately, that was not an option, but I did learn about some supplements that were also very, very anti-inflammatory, very great for pain. Began taking those, and over the course of just a few weeks, all the pain that I had suffered with for over 30 years was gone completely, and has been gone ever since. I feel like my body has been renewed. The nutrition and the chemistry, the natural chemistry that's in the essential oils has given my body something it's been lacking for many years. As a result, I am able to run. I'm able to do activities that I never thought I would be able to do again. I take stairs 2 and 3 at a time. I feel light on my feet because I am much lighter on my feet. I've lost 26 pounds just simply because my body gets the nutrition it needs and I don't find myself foraging for food all the time. Now I work circles around all my coworkers. They should give me a raise. And so I feel now as good as I've felt in my late 20s. I look around and see others who struggle like I struggled, and I feel their pain. And I feel grateful that I have an answer that I can share with them.
Well, there you go. My story is so similar to this one, and quite sad actually, because he found out in time before he had lots of damage to his joint, and I found out too late, which is one of the reasons I'm so keen, so keen to share the message of natural health, of essential oils and good nutrition, which doTERRA also addresses, and we'll talk about in a minute about their supplement product range. But yes, how amazing that somebody can come back from that. Right, so here we go. The steps to, optimal health and prevention of sickness, really. First of all, we need good nutrition. We need good nutrition. Scientific research shows at the moment that even a really good diet in the world that we live in today, with the way that food is produced, and this is an area that I'm very interested in and look into all the time, but the way that food is produced, and the way that the soils are depleted, our agricultural soils are depleted. Our bodies are just not getting the right nutrition that we need. So I have been using, and I'll talk about them in a minute, the doTERRA supplement range to help supplement my nutrition in my body. And I'll explain as well that, I come a long way on this. I used to absolutely believe that they weren't, supplements weren't necessary at all. And I used to be very skeptical about them. And there's good reason to be skeptical about supplements out there. But more about that in a minute. So proper nutrition is the first step you need to take. And exercise is pretty important too. But then go for cleansing and digestion in your body. Do you know that really 60 to 85% of our immune systems is based in our digestive system? So, and that's really where I have found that my autoimmune issue was resulting from. My digestive system was not functioning normally. I had perforated intestinal lining, or I'm still trying to heal that really, but I've come a long way in the last year or so since I've been properly supplementing my nutrition and using essential oils and other dietary things like bone broths and things. But yes, the gut is so important. Our gut is so important. So we need to know what we put in there so that we can have a healthy immune system functioning in our bodies. And doTERRA has some pretty amazing products as well. There's GX Assist, which is a product that sort of detoxes your digestive system, a really safe and easy and natural way of detoxifying and cleansing your digestive system. There's also another product here that they've not actually put, there's not a picture on here, but which I've used recently since my operation, because I had issues with my digestive tract after my operation, and it is Terrazyme, digestive enzymes, and boy does that work. I don't even use a lot of it. I will drink one after my meal every night, and when in the morning I'll wake up and it would just be a really good bowel movement. Sorry for too much detail perhaps on a class like this, but it's so important actually. It's so important that we eliminate well, and our bodies need the digestive enzymes to digest our food properly and for the digestive system to work properly. Okay, and then the third step, of course, we need to avoid toxins, and that's why I make my own cleaning products with essential oils in the home. And doTERRA also has a whole range of really fantastic products. I use their shampoo and conditioner range. I use their toothpaste. I use their skincare range as well, because everything that you put on your body, how many of you know that the bathroom is the most toxic room in the house, right? So everything we put on our bodies, on our skin, gets absorbed into our bloodstream. It's so important that we know this and that we know what it is that we put on our skins and in our bodies as well. So, where do I start? I think I'll have to pause this here. And in the second video, we will address how do I start? What do I do to start tackling my health from in this way at the moment, getting the right nutrition in, to cleanse and sort out my digestion to avoid toxins, and how can I use essential oils to do this?